Hello, heroes. Thank you all for tuning in to the 25th episode of the Nexus podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Eastwood, and I'm super excited to be on episode number 25. It's like, our first kind of big milestone. And so we brought with us our lore-loving, time-altering gamer, David Troy.
Hi, everybody. Special happy Victoria Day weekend to all of the Canadians out here. That's the day we celebrate Victoria, British Columbia, and everything that's there.
Yes. I have no idea what the holiday is all about, but happy Victoria Day.
Queen Victoria.
What? Oh, Queen Victoria?
Queen Victoria, yes.
Sorry.
We're celebrating our monarch from 120 years ago. So a toast.
We have the lifestyle geek himself, Joshua Williams.
Hey everybody, I hope you all had a good week so far. It's the 25th episode, which is exciting. I don't know how long I've been on. Probably around 10 episodes, maybe? I don't know. But I'm excited to be here.
Mm-hmm. And last, but certainly not least, our Blizzard and eSport enthusiast, Ben Blazek.
Good evening, everybody. It's pretty awesome to be part of the 25th episode myself. I've been here for it's 6 or 7 episodes now, so it's pretty cool to be part of this, and looking forward to a good night.
Yeah, it's been crazy at last. Not only is it 25 episodes, but this would be like the 6-month mark as well in terms of not to the date, but it's been a lot of fun. David's been on all, but I think 2 episodes at this point.
Yeah, I'm amazed it's gone by this fast. Because like they say, it goes by fast when you're having fun.
Exactly, and to think of how far we've come as 1, a podcast, and 2, we actually get to play the game now. It's amazing.
Woo! The best part.
Yeah.
So Ben, what have you been up to now that you've actually been able to enter the storm and play some heroes?
Playing a lot of it. Nowhere near as much as I wanted to. I keep having weird work things come up. I just got back yesterday from a trip I was on, and spent like 8 hours in airports yesterday. But I played an okay amount. I got to level 23. I wanted to be a lot farther than I am now, but made it to level 23. Pretty much mastered Uther already. Found a couple extras I like, and loving every bit of it, and just having a blast with it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Any standout games this week for you that you just have to talk about?
There was one where we were on Dragonshire, and the first dragon wasn't obtained until after 12 to 13 minutes, and our team, we ended up winning that one, and that was just absolutely one of the most ridiculous matches we've played, just because it was a constant tug of war. But our entire team had really good synergy, and I had some ridiculous Uther moves. I kind of wish I was streaming at that time and recording some of it just to do a highlights reel. I don't really like to do that self-gloating thing, but there was some pretty cool stuff that went down in that match that I wish I could show everyone. And a couple of really good Blackheart's Bay matches as well, especially a couple with you where you had some ridiculous numbers in the coins you were turning in.
Oh yeah, what was it? You were like, you need to beat 50 coins, so I'm like, okay, I'll just do 67.
Yep.
Josh, what have you been up to in Heroes and gaming over the past week?
Heroes, been playing when I can. I've been playing a lot of games the past week, actually. Not too much of Hearthstone, but I started playing StarCraft 2 again. Diablo, since they're doing the 2-year anniversary for that. And yesterday they added the new maps for Titanfall. So I've been playing all those games and a little bit of World of Warcraft throughout the past week. Tons of games.
Mm-hmm. It's funny with Diablo 3, they had the 2-year anniversary. It's supposed to be 100% more legendary drops. You know how many legendary drops I had playing today?
1.
0.
Ah.
It's like negative 100% legendary drops for me. I have better luck in, the first day of the game being out than I have so far since this buff, as I like to call it.
I got first couple minutes I got some gloves, but after that I didn't get anything else.
And David, what have you been up to lately?
In Heroes, I've been mainly losing a lot. I've been running into some tough matchups. I've also been sort of playing around with some different builds, so it's been a lot of experimentation, but I have found that, at least in solo queuing, that little bump of somewhat easiness has kind of gone away. Maybe it's got something to do with the level that I'm at right now. I'm up to 27, I think. So I think I'm running into better players. So that's been a bit of a challenge, but I've been, staying with it and managed to get like my tints for my Witch Doctor, both of them now, so I'm pretty happy with that. Gotten back a little bit in Hearthstone. The change in the meta with the Hunter nerf has opened that up a little bit. So I'm doing a little bit of different stuff in there, and actually getting back into WoW. We're still working on Garage, which means at least the good thing is this content has lasted me quite a long time. And but with the changes that they've announced with the Valor upgrades, I'm actually grinding Valor again for the first time in about 5 months. But I'm really enjoying the switch to the Fire Spec in WoW, and I'm finding it a lot of fun. Definitely more entertaining than Arcane or Frost. So I feel all magey and getting ready for Kale Fast to come into this game, so I can just mage out all over the place.
You can spread your mage all around.
Get magey craziness all over the place. Switched my icon and group me to Doug Henning. I'm just very excited. Feeling very magician.
Yeah, for me, we've actually switched our raid night to just Tuesday. We used to raid Tuesday and Thursday. Now we just do a longer night on Tuesday because we had people that couldn't show up on Thursday, and we'd spend an hour just pugging. So now we just go 3 hours on Tuesdays, and we actually have made progression where we got up to Thok, which is
nice.
which is huge for my group because we just haven't had a steady raid team in like months. David, I've been complaining to you all over the place.
I think I caught it too. Our raid team's been a bit of a flux the last month or so. So yeah, I know how you feel.
Well, the last month is when we finally haven't. So maybe you caught the bug for me, and I'm finally cured. I had to pass the curse on to you.
Great. Look, thank God we got past the block.
Yeah, you just got to pass it on to somebody else quick.
Yeah, that's it.
And in terms of heroes, I played a ton with Ben last weekend. Me and him were on a lot. And earlier today, we had actually I had 2 really good matches as soon as Ben signed off. One where we won Blackheart's Bay in like 11 or 12 minutes. We just hit the coins, and they pretty much gave up. I mean, it was crazy. And then the other one was actually the exact opposite. We were getting basically owned. They were beating the tar out of us in Cursed Hollow. And Chai T I was playing with from Monk Meditation, and he's like, "Oh man, I have to go get my pizza." He left for the pizza, came back, and we started pushing while he was gone, and then we won the match. So it was a long match, but we went from basically being what I would be considered down 0-5 in a game to 6 to winning. So that was really cool. Any other cool game stories for either David or Josh? Any of you guys have a really good game that you'd like to point out?
The match right as we were getting this call together today was very interesting. It lasted about 33 minutes. Both teams got to level 25. They got our palace down to 1%, and their palace was still at full health. But we managed to keep them away from that, and so it slowly regenerated health and got our palace stayed at 10%. And we managed to push them back and destroy their palace and win. Mm-hmm. So it's first time I ever had my palace down to 1% and still win.
Yeah, because usually just a Zeratul or a Nova or anybody can just walk in and just finish you off. They can take the damage and handle it, So that's kind of weird. It feels like they're like, you know what, they're fighting back. Let's give it to them.
Yeah.
I kind of have the opposite story. I was playing with Rillandune from Hotscast, and we were just we weren't really beating them in the team fights, and we weren't really beating them in the objectives so much, but we were doing really well on mercs. So we'd actually managed to get a pretty decent push, got their palace down to 4%. And to be honest, I don't remember the exact map, but we got their palace down to 4%. And so we're feeling pretty confident. We're gonna be okay. And then all of a sudden, our palace, I just see the meter going down. And I think they took it. I don't know what they had up. It must have been a golem and mercs and siege giants and all their guys, because it literally went from 100% to 0% in about 5 seconds. It was just insane. We're oh, okay, we didn't see that coming. So that's my crazy game story. I wish it was a more positive one, but that's the kind of week I've been having.
It's amazing how mercs can really just turn the tide of battle. If you're not paying attention, because it's 3 sets of siege giants going across the bottom just lay waste late game when you're thinking when you have tunnel vision, and that just really shows that you can have tunnel vision in this game. You always have to be aware of what's going on. So it's it's not like in like League of Legends where if they're lower level they're not gonna be able to push as fast as you because they can actually get help.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a long time to kind of grasp the fact that it's the minions who have to kill the siege giants if you're not doing it because they're out of range of the turrets.
Right.
Because you just anticipate like they're going to soften them up, But if you're for people who aren't in the game, the siege giants are basically smart enough that they just stay out of range of the turrets, but they can hit the turrets. So unless unless you can do something about them, it's pretty much up to your minions to do it. And especially in something like Cursed Hollow, when you're cursed, they're just going to melt right through it.
Mm-hmm. It's weird because like the siege giants lay siege to the towers. It's kind of weird.
Very true.
They got the lore right on that one.
Yes.
No pun intended, guys.
So, kind of moving on to the news. I think the biggest news was actually something we talked about last week. Was we were talking about kind of AFKers and people who just leave games, and we didn't really touch on the toxicity, even though that is a type of kind of way of trolling people. But Blizzard actually has an official announcement in terms of what they're going to be doing, and I think was it Josh? You were pretty spot on, right, with what you thought they were going to do.
I don't think I predicted that.
Somebody predicted it. Now I forget.
Yeah,
who.
someone did, but it wasn't me.
Well, why don't you let them know what they're going to do?
Okay. Basically, what happens is that, straight from their site, they say that going forward, we will be banning heroes game accounts for players who have been found to be repeatedly AFKing, leaving game, or determined to be toxic to the heroes of Heroes of the Storm. And it says here, and as we do with all Blizzard games, we'll continue to monitor the game and take action as needed, which I think is great because people in this game that are going AFK, leaving games because they're not winning or just being a jerk, aren't doing what Blizzard wants, because this is a technical alpha to test stuff, not to take it seriously. Yes, when we all play, we talk trash and stuff like that, but that's common. But some of these players that are acting like this are not using the technical alpha the way Blizzard wants you to.
Mm-hmm. Ben, what are your thoughts on kind of the official ruling that's coming down?
Oh my god, I love it. I mean, what's not to like about it? I've had so many experiences already just in the past week where so many people are getting angry and leaving the match right off the bat, or they're AFKing just inside just to not leave. Either way, you're ruining the game experience for everyone else around you. You're even ruining it for the other team, because some people only leave the team. You're like me, I like a fair 5v5 fight. I don't enjoy when somebody else leaves and it's a 4v5. I like it to be fair, and I like it to be, a grueling match. So I'm really glad they're on the ball about this, especially so quickly. Like we're still in an alpha. We're not in an open beta, anything like that. We are in a closed technical alpha to a limited group of audience, and they are already hitting the ball with so many different aspects, and that's really great to see. And I think there was even a post. I have to go back and backtrack it. It might have been a blue post, something about kind of talking about what I talked about last week with like Counter-Strike system, where based upon like what you're doing, you're banned for X amount of time, and it just keeps going up and up and up the more you offend the system and so on.
Mm-hmm. And David, is this kind of what you expected? What do you think? Ban? Do you think it's too harsh?
No, not really. I mean, it's funny. I was reading through the comments in the forum post, and someone made a good comment about like, dude, it's a technical alpha. Like you're railing. Some guy was writing about how someone was railing on him because he didn't have the right build, and he's like, "I'm testing the build. Like that's what I'm here for. I'm not here, And to be honest, that was a little bit of a surprise to me, because the thing is, the game's so polished, you do forget that you're in an alpha, let alone not even a beta yet. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I've been kind of tense on myself too. It's like, oh, so maybe I shouldn't feel bad about all that losing. I'm just testing losing in the game. So, it's, I think there were some people taking it a little too seriously. I think in terms of like outright hostility, I found it worse in the very first week than it is now. Now you kind of have this like passive aggressive, like, oh, I guess we're not going for the objectives. It's okay. Like it's more. That's what I'm seeing more of now, and I think that's where you're seeing the AFKers as well. I mean, one little word of caution is this is probably going to be what they're going to do for the alpha and maybe early beta. I can't imagine they're going to be able to do this when the game explodes and there's lots of people playing. I think they are going to have to do something a little bit different, maybe what Ben was talking about with the Counter-Strike system. Right now, they can keep a pretty close eye on everything, and they just don't want people to leave an alpha where they want people testing. So they're going to take the effort to do that. But I think this is not, we're not going to end up with us reporting people and them monitoring and them watching AFKs. There might be an AFK queue like we've discussed before, but I still think this is more what they're going to be doing for alpha. I don't think this is what they're going to be doing for the game when it's at launch or even in a wide beta.
One thing that really caught my eye is very direct, very specific language that they said was that playing in the technical alpha is a privilege. And I think people need to understand that, we're the lucky ones, We got into the game, we get to play it, we get to test it. If you're going to be acting in a way that's detrimental to the testing process, if you're going to leave games and make it so people can't actually try and win, they can't test out things properly, they're going to just say, okay, we don't need you. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing as part of the alpha. I think a lot of people, I've had this conversation with a lot of people on a different podcast where it's the idea that everyone belongs in the beta and the alpha and you feel entitled to being invited. It's like Blizzard finally kind of putting their foot down and be like, yeah, you guys are lucky that we're letting you do this. So let's cut off all the crap.
I mean, it's kind of funny you just said that because on the other podcast I'm on, we actually did an episode about that specifically last Sunday.
Oh, yeah. No, I had it. I did the Random Geekcast, and we had a whole half-hour discussion on it as well. But I mean, this is, I think, a problem that I think Blizzard's finally saying, hey guys, this is a privilege, deal with it.
I mean, just to play devil's advocate a little bit, though, and please, Blizzard, don't take away my Heroes Alpha access. But I mean, to play devil's advocate, I mean, we are testing their game. It's not like we're getting paid to test their game. Like, we are helping them, too. I mean, to me, the whole idea of, it's a privilege. Yeah, it's a privilege, and it's great, and I love being in there early, and it's fantastic. You are also crowdsourcing the testing, not actually paying us to test. So I think it's both ways. Mm-hmm. But, so, I mean, to me, I don't feel like it's a privilege for me to be in this game. I think I'm lucky. But for, Joe D-Bag, who's, just acting like a jerk and kind of screwing up the game, I mean, for him, it's kind of like it's a privilege they're letting you stay this long. And now, their patience is up kind of thing. So get your act together.
Especially when you have those hardcore fans that are chomping at the bit to get in and test and actually do what they're supposed to be doing versus the people who are just being, complete schmucks about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd see as many schmucks if the game was really choppy and raw? Do you think that maybe I admit it, it's kind of happened to me. The game is so polished at this point that it kind of fools you into thinking it's a finished game.
Right.
You think if there was games were being lost because the Dragon Knight's just exploding 1 second after you get it. Things like that. You think then people would be like, oh, well, we're testing, ha ha ha. But
no, they'd still be angry.
They would be.
But they'd be angry.
Yeah, they'd be totally, yeah. They'd just be running around ranting the whole time. It's like, dude, calm yourself.
I mean, in a game in alpha, the surprising few bugs that I've seen, it takes me by surprise when there's a little bug because it's there's so few of them. I mean, the biggest issues I've ever had in the game in terms of bugs was the whole quest issue that's been resolved for about a month and a half now, month and a week. In the game, I very rarely run into any bugs, and I kind of want to run into them. I want to, I don't know why. I feel like I should be, so I can be like, hey, this is happening, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only bug I've seen in the game so far is someone got polymorphed into a squirrel next to the pirate. And just even when they went away, the squirrel was still there hanging around. That's the only bug I've noticed.
Yeah,
maybe I'm a bad tester.
I had one where I think Brightwing became invisible, and you could only see her shadow. So you had to play as if Brightwing was invisible for the last half of the game.
I don't know if it was the match that we were in together, Adam, on Blackheart's Bay, but there was one where someone tried to turn in coins to Blackheart, and we started attacking them. and then they went off into the steam vault so that way you couldn't see them. And instead of them, becoming invisible because you're not inside the vent, we could see them the whole time as they're moving back and forth. There was nothing on them that gave us vision as far as someone's ability. It was just straight up, we had permanent vision of them.
Yeah. No, I think I know. If it wasn't when we did it together, I think I've seen it before where if you just like get hit after like trying to hand stuff in and you go in the steam, it lets people know you're there, oddly enough. And then maybe it's because they're clicking, trying to like re-establish a connection with the pirate captain there, Blackheart. So that's a possibility. So I don't know if it's a bug or not. Who knows?
Yeah. And I found out. I remember who called it. It was Xantar, our lovely Xantar, who's not here right now.
Xantar who called it.
Yeah.
So we'll take credit.
We'll take credit. Josh, just say it was you. We can't give Xantar any credit.
It was my idea, my thoughts. Blizzard copied me. I handed it to Mike Morheim personally, and he said, "Thank you very much. Here's $1 million."
Wow, that's
Whoa,
great.
man.
He was very generous.
Very
I go,
generous.
I need a little bit more, pal.
So our next kind of topic is we're actually going to get another one of these Q&As that actually I've liked for the whole time. So we're at developer Q&A number 5. I'm surprised it took them this long to kind of do another one. They were doing them pretty regularly, like every other week or so, every 3 weeks. And, I guess with PAX East and stuff, they kind of took a break from it because it's kind of the same idea. With taking a look at who's actually going to be there, it's Nicholas Slow, if I'm saying that name right, who's a lead user interface artist. Kent Eric Hangman and Matt Cooper, who are game designers, and then Kevin Johnson, the senior manager for community development, who basically asked the questions. What do you guys think we're going to hear about? I think it was the last one that we heard more along the lines of art stuff. What do you expect to hear at this Q&A?
I would say talent changes, UI improvements, maybe an inside look of how they've redesigned one of the most iconic heroes.
That's a good guess.
Thank you.
Man, it's like you read it from somewhere.
You know what I think? I think after that portion of the show, there'll be members of the development team answering questions.
No, I'm excited to see, because they're going to be more than this kind of stuff. I kind of hope they show maybe a new hero or so, or maybe announce a new hero, one of the heroes we already seen release dates. I kind of hope something along that, or release time frames, something along that line. I kind of hope.
Yeah, I know I have almost 20,000 gold that's burning a hole in my pocket that I can't spend. So we're talking about, like they said, the hero that they've redesigned. Are we all in agreement that it's probably Tyrael?
Tyrael or Arthas?
Arthas, I'm thinking.
Definitely one of those two.
Because I feel
I'm thinking Barbarian.
Really?
The most iconic hero?
Redesign was Barbarian, wasn't it?
Barbarian's kind of iconic.
But it says one of our most iconic heroes.
Yeah.
That's where I think it's definitely Arthas over Tyrael. Arthas is a little bit more iconic than Tyrael.
I don't know. It depends on...
Arthas had an entire game made about him.
It was an expansion, though.
Still counts.
I'm thinking Barbarian.
Actually, no.
Design, and she's like, like an iconic character.
You're going to say Warcraft 3,
Diablo.
weren't you?
I was going to say Frozen Throne.
Yeah.
There's a whole book about Arthas. I have it right over there.
Oh, come on. You have more books about Tyrael.
I'm not going to discredit Tyrael. Tyrael is the man. However,
I think
Arthas is a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I think
Gaslow.
Tyrael's pretty...
No, they don't need to redo Gaslow.
It's Abathur.
Don't
It's Abathur.
They need to redo Gaslow.
Gaslow.
I mean, it could be Illidan, too. I mean, he is a huge name and iconic... Well, he's not really...
Yeah, but they haven't
neither
really...
is Arthas, but...
But
They haven't really had a problem with Illidan, though.
Exactly.
They had a problem with Arthas.
True. Very, very true.
See, I may be cheating, because if you're... I swear I read a forum post where they said that they were thinking about redesigning Tyrael. So that might be why. Maybe that's why I think it was Tyrael, and that's why I thought we were in agreement here.
Speaking of Illidan, and I'm off topic, but have you guys seen a lot less Illidan and a lot more Zeratul lately?
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, definitely. I've seen people with Illidan not take Metamorphosis as much as they used to. When
I
they
like
are
the
there.
hunt, actually. I like the hunt. I think it's a great skill.
Yeah, the other one is really cool. I played Illidan because I had to for a quest because I needed it. I actually had 2 quests: play an assassin, play a Warcraft hero. So I just played him, and man, being able to jump halfway across the map and get to them and kill them is so much fun. Like,
Yeah.
it's like amazing.
Broken. Sorry.
You're just
Anyways.
mad.
Yeah, no, the only reason I brought it up is that I've been seeing it's kind of a continuation of last week, but I've seen a lot of Zeratul, and I think it's just part of the meta, the whole idea of like so many people were going after Mercs for a while, and I found out the hard way, man. You don't want to go after Mercs alone when he's lurking.
Honestly, I think it's because we talked about him.
Yeah,
Could be.
man.
We're,
It's like
we're kind
we
of a big
set
deal
the
now.
future.
Episode 25 and all.
Look out, Will.
That's right.
I want to spin a conspiracy theory for a minute. Then
Okay.
I'm linking the image in chat, which is the graphic that they used for this Q&A session. Okay, so 2 things. So they're talking about reworking an iconic hero. Well, Witch Doctor's kind of iconic. So he's at the top of this image, and then below him is Anu Barak, who we know exists in the game based upon gameplay trailers, but we still haven't heard a single thing about him yet.
Mm-hmm. So maybe the rework is Anuba Josh. No, Nubarak.
Hard.
I think this could also just be a really cool image, kind of like how Chen Stormstout's been on our loading screen.
We've seen Chen Stormstout for
'cause
the past 2 months. So
I feel like
he's
Blizzard
not in the
doesn't
game
do this
yet.
stuff just to do it. Like they have specific reasons behind everything they're doing.
They want us to be like, when are we going to get Chen? We see him. It's in our head. So as soon as he comes out, people are going to pay cash for him because they've seen him song at Subliminal, honestly.
So apparently my girlfriend thinks it's necessary to not be captured on camera, so she's trying to crawl on the floor behind me to evade the camera.
But I mean, with this, I don't think it'd be a witch doctor or a noob Josh, as Adam would say, because he's mean. But I think it would either be Tyrael or Arthas, because the key word here is one of our most iconic heroes. Like, it's either Arthas or Tyrael. I personally think it's Arthas because he is the most recognizable character of all 3 franchises to put together. He's probably the most popular, well-known character.
However, we talked a lot on that one episode about how we feel like he needs rework, and because he's not that epic hero that we know him to be from the story. Played my first game as Arthas the other night, and I was McBaddy stomping grounds over there, just rolling the map. So I don't know if I really have a problem with him now.
Yeah, I don't have much of a problem with him as I did before. Same with Tyrael. I've learned to play them and do well with them, but I still think Tyrael needs a little work, just because I don't know if what he does is what I picture him doing.
Well, you know what, guys? I'm still sticking with Barbarian, so I'll make a little wager. If I'm wrong, since we're getting a long weekend this weekend, if I'm wrong, you guys get a long weekend next week.
I have 4 days off next weekend.
Deal.
All right, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
30th birthday. Anyways,
So here's the
Oh,
marathon.
oh,
so real quick, kind of what I'm hoping to see is I'm hoping that during this Q&A session they say, and on the next patch day, they're going to give us the new talent UI, with the lead user interface artist there. I really want to see that new talent UI because
Me too.
I keep accidentally clicking the wrong talent, and I really want like a quick key, like F1 through F5 to pick your talent, and I want them to be like, this coming out next week.
you want a quickie?
Yes.
Quickie and a talent interface upgrade? That's a lot. That's a lot to ask for.
This 25th episode is getting edgy.
Yeah, I know.
Hey man, more power.
That new direction.
Now, I know on Twitter there was a little bit of talk today. Didn't get quite put into the show notes. We did talk about it a second. Didn't get on the, those YouTube watchers. It's not on our overlay. But there was talk about smart casting, and if it was going to officially be in the game or not. And I think it's missing tooltip. One of the, what was he? He's one of the lead game designers or something like that. He in fact said that there will be smart casting. Josh, you brought it up. I forget. Did you say that you do use smart casting or no?
I don't.
And why do you not use smart casting? Any specific reason?
I just feel I feel like I don't have as much control of the character.
Okay.
With smart casting, that's just my personal thing. I mean, I don't use it, but I'm glad they're adding it in for those people who do use it, and I'm glad it is an option. So that I think that's great that they're adding this in for for people who want it, obviously they wouldn't be adding it if people didn't ask for it or want it. So I'm glad they're adding these little features that you don't even think about until they add them into this game like this.
Just to step back, can we maybe define smart casting in case some people may not know?
Yeah. So really, on a basic level, right now, if you're in the game and you have a spell that's either a targeted area or a specific target, what you have to do is you have to click your, say, Q, then click on that area or on that person. With smart casting, what you do is you hover your mouse over the person or just in the area that the area of effect you want to go off. You press your button down, and when you release your button is when it casts the spell. So you don't have to do like a click of the mouse and a click of the keyboard and the click of the mouse. It's just put it where you want it and click the keyboard. I use it all the time because I feel that it is quicker, so your reaction's a little faster. And in a game where you have to basically get your abilities off before somebody kills you, it's definitely an advantage. I also think for me it's easier because I don't have to do that double click. I know I want to click it, so I just kind of tap it. And in League of Legends, if you keep it held down, you can I believe right click to cancel it, so it doesn't actually go off if you didn't want to. Ben, what are your thoughts on quick casting?
So I've played a lot of MOBAs. Dota 1, Dota 2, League of Legends, Heroes of New Earth, blah blah blah, Dawngate. Anyways, not once have I ever used quick casting or smart casting. Sorry, ever. Yeah, not once have I ever used it. I'm glad the option's going to be there because I feel like a game that has more options is good. I'll never use it. It's not my thing. My APM's like woo. So you know what I'm saying?
Sorry, pro player.
Them clickety clacks. Got to keep my clickety clacks going. Hey, but man, if it's gonna make you happy, that's gonna make me happy. But I won't.
Then it'll make me happy.
I don't.
Ben's happy.
There's an argument about other games as far as like League of Legends and stuff like that, like correct item choices and last hitting on creeps is like a show of skill. I don't buy that for a second. Proper use of your spells at proper timing and stuff like that, I think is better use is like a show of skill. Mm-hmm. And my personal opinion is that smart casting takes away from the skill barrier. But that's just me. But I'm glad there's going to be an option for it.
Mm-hmm. Dave, you have any thoughts, any feelings on this topic?
I mean, it's something that I'm going to try and explore. It doesn't sound like something I'm really kind of is me. Essentially, I'm like when I'm playing Warcraft, I'm Mr. Tap targeting kind of person. I usually like to kind of keep it pretty simple and it sounds simple, but it also sounds a little twitchy, which isn't really my play style at all. So I'm going to, from a position much more of a position of ignorance, side with Ben on this.
Wow, it's 3-on-1.
I'm going back to my honorary noob status here and say, I kind of like the way the feel of the game as it is right now. So I don't.
The Stacks army is growing.
Man, I wish Xantar was here. He'd agree with me.
But he's not, Adam.
I know.
Yeah. Ooh.
Watch Twitter in like 5 minutes. He's gonna be like watching this on his phone, and he's gonna start posting on Twitter.
Yeah. So, kind of one quick thing, kind of wrap up our news segment today. One thing that I actually think is going to happen very soon is we're going to get a big patch because we haven't gotten a patch in 3 weeks, guys. No changes, no nothing. Something's coming. The storm is brewing.
Yeah, it's an Uber wreck.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we're getting a hero at least. Maybe Cho'Gall.
Don't you tease me like that. Don't you do it.
I like Cho'Gall a lot. I think he'd be a lot of fun. I think they do need. It does feel like they need another warrior.
Yes.
I don't know. It just feels like it.
Wouldn't he be a mage?
He'd be a mage. He'd be a mage.
Really? You think so?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
He'd maybe be like a mage warrior.
Yeah, because he'd be a big guy. He'd have to be a big character. Like,
but big guys don't have to be warriors.
You guys gotta be warriors.
Nah, man. Go back to the old Warcraft RTS games where he was in there. He was a mage.
Look at they can be multifaceted, in that sense, but still be a warrior. Look at Bane in War Crimes. He's a lawyer. He's a warrior.
Shh. Hey,
the king.
I'm
He's
listening to it right now. Well, not right now, but
Are you listening to it?
So
When you're
split.
done, I'll give my review of it.
okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll move on to our From the Forums. I think eventually I need to get a sounder for this because I actually really like kind of pulling something off the forums that's kind of big. Right now, I think the biggest topic that I saw in terms of like actual legitimacy that's not just complaining, that some people agree with, some people won't, is that they kind of figured out that in order to get all the heroes in the game right now, it would take about 275 days of continuous play to get them with gold. David, as someone who does not want to spend any money on this game ever, do you think that's
right.
too long?
No, it's not too long. It's you always want something to strive for. I mean, it's not the exact same thing, but how long does it take to level 90 all of your guys in Warcraft without spending money now?
Nowadays, a week.
But I mean, like it does take but I gear them up and everything, right? I mean, like. There's got to be something to strive for in this game. I'd feel kind of dumb if I was able to do it all in the third game. And I don't see, especially with the free hero rotation, I don't see the need to have all the characters in the game at any one time. I've got like I'm literally spending no money on this game. I've been playing since the wipe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't remember when the wipe was. I got my support guys, I got my specialists, I got my assassins, I got my warriors. I've picked up the guys I'm happy with, so I don't see what the complaining about really is. And if you really want everyone in, put up the cash. Like that's what it comes down to.
That's what the bundles are for.
Yeah, I mean, 275 days to get everything in a game, and mind you, they're talking about everything in the game now. Obviously, when there's more heroes, it's going to be 1,000 and 275 days or something like that. But if you're going to be playing the game for free, then you got to put in the time for it. And really, I mean, how long is a match? 15 minutes, right? Let's say it takes 2 matches to do a quest, so it means 30 minutes a day over 275 days. That's a lot less time than it takes to grind out gear in Warcraft, or get all the cards. I mean, I don't have all the cards in Hearthstone, right? I mean, how long would it take me to get that? Obviously, quite a long time if I'm doing it for free. So I don't see the issue with it. I think that I would rather it be this way than it be shorter. I want to have something to strive for.
Yeah, Ben, what do you think?
So I'm a firm believer in the old philosophy of hardcore players should be rewarded for their efforts versus just the casuals. Granted, might be the wrong IP to be preaching that about because this is more so geared as a casual hero brawler. However, I'm going to compare this to the old World of Warcraft, level 60. How long did it take us to level up in that game? And then how long did it take us to do raiding in that game? And how long did it take us to get the good High Warlords PvP gear and stuff like that? So I don't really mind it. And, going back to what David said, if you really want it, fork up the cash. I spent $100 the first night I was in alpha. So, that's just me.
And Josh, what about you? What you I think. Oh yeah, go ahead, Josh.
Now you make me wonder what you're going to say. Well, I personally, I almost own all the characters except for Abathur, so I've of course forked over the money and in-game gold to buy them. I think 275 days of this, playing to unlock them and stuff, is fair. It's free to play. You should just. I know this sounds jerky of me, and I'll take it as being the jerk of the podcast. It's a free-to-play game. If you want to, those characters, put in the time and effort to get them, or put in the cash. But if you don't want to do that, then don't play the game. Mm-hmm. But I think it's fair. Blizzard wants you to continue to keep playing their game. So if they let you, they either want you to keep playing their game or make money, or both. If you're going to put in the money to buy it, they're happy. If you're continuing to play the game to unlock the characters, they're happy because they're winning both ways. You're playing their game, or they're making money.
Mm-hmm. Now, for people who either listen to podcasts a lot or you podcast yourself, that there's always someone who, like the last person talked, usually always takes the opposing view. And I'm not going to do that here because I just agree too much with you guys and what you're saying. I think their argument is just, I think someone just wanting stuff to be given to them. Like 275 days. If you really break it down, that means if you get 3 daily quests and just let them stack up, that means you have to play 100 days at most. And that's if you like miss a day here and there. That is not a lot of time to get everything a game has to offer at this point, particularly. I've been playing League of Legends for, 2.5, 3 years now, and I don't own every single hero in that game. You have to pick and choose the ones who you think you're going to like. They have a try me option specifically for that. So the fact that people think that it should be less than 275 days to own every hero in the game for free, I think it's a little ridiculous.
Well, plus, you do own every hero in the game in a way. You just have to wait for them to be up.
Yeah, and you get to play them when they're free. I mean, that's a perfect example. I mean, you know, if you play and you decide you want a hero when they're free, that's when you use the gold. You don't want to just waste your gold on heroes that you don't know you're going to like. That would be my advice to people who think that that's a lot of time and they're not going to be able to play that much to get heroes is wait till they're free, try them out, and then get them. That's the easiest way to make sure that you don't get buyer's remorse and then feel like you have to play 275 days straight, because you should be playing for fun and playing the heroes you like, and you know that's the way to do it. And Blizzard doesn't want you to unlock everything in 100 days or 200 days, because then you'll stop playing their game, and because you need something to do. So I think, you know, kind of when I was reading the forum, you know, I think a lot of people had the same mentality as us. There were probably 2 or 3 people that agreed with the opening post, but I definitely disagree.
Yeah, I think, what the poster was saying too, they were talking about, like, well, you know, you're going to get my money, I'm going to buy skins. I don't see what the problem is. And it's like, well, you know, cool, give me a car. I mean, I'll buy the floor mats and I'll get the paint job, but give me the car for free. And it's like, really, I mean, the champions or the heroes are the most valuable thing in this game, at least as far as I'm concerned. Skins are great. I think they're cool. I'm glad they're out there. I'm glad you 3 guys are spending so much money so I can play for free. But, you know, it's a case where, I mean, to me, the heroes are the most valuable thing in the whole game. And, you know, it should take a lot of time to get them. And, you know, you can't work for skins. You can work for the tints and stuff. But that's, you know, kind of part of leveling up. So, I mean, that's really what you're in there for. There's no, it's, you know, once you get all the heroes, there's no expansion and that you're then going to get later on and progress from there. So it should constantly be something that you're striving for.
Mm-hmm. And one person made, or maybe the main person made the example that you could grind out IP all day to get and buy them. I'm like, I kind of like that you can't grind out gold all day to buy them, because that puts a limit to the amount of games that you have to play in order to unlock them, if that is your goal. And the IP, like, good luck trying to get, like, was it over 6,000 IP in League of Legends in a day, like, without spending money. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's just kind of crazy. It made me feel like the opening post maybe didn't play that much League of Legends, where they actually tried to grind out IP for a hero, because that's the toughest thing in the game for me in League of Legends, is try to get a hero with IP that's one of the top tier pricing.
Yeah, that turned me off League of Legends. It was like, it seemed like just such a grind, and it's like, I got my game to grind. I don't need another game that I gotta grind.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I think that'll do it for those, you know, for that conversation. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna move into our hero spotlight this week.
This is the Hero Spotlight.
And this week we're going to see Sergeant Hammer. We're going to go over Sergeant Hammer's capabilities in the game. David, I know we normally hit you up for lore, but there's not much lore in terms of Sergeant Hammer. She's kind of pretty new for Heroes of the Storm, correct?
Yeah, I pretty much had to, like, make stuff up. Pretty much. I mean, she's a siege tank operator. They tell you a little bit. You know, she's been involved in a lot of the wars. Her name is Bama the Hammer Kowalski, which, I mean, if we really want to get in depth with her, you know, Bama is the Hebrew name meaning son of prophecy. Kowalski means she could be a descendant of famous Polish Canadian wrestler Killer Kowalski from the 50s. So that's the lore on Sergeant Hammer.
I can just see it now. Killer Kowalski, his great grandson, becomes a prisoner and gets sent off because I don't know. I'm sure Ben knows this, but like the whole the Carpulo sector that the Terrans live. That it's basically Australia in the future. It's like the prison colony that gets sent out there, and then they thrive and become great. But so it's like Killer Kowalski's descendants are obviously prisoners and criminals. So and that's where Bama comes the hammer.
Yeah, and she looks like she could descend from a wrestler. Like she's kind of she's got that kind of vibe to her. So yeah, we're just making up for her.
What you're saying is she's kind of thick. Is that what you're saying?
She's kind of I said she's the first dwarf in the StarCraft universe, basically, right? But I mean, she's
how do we know she's a dwarf?
She's got some depth, to her, so that's good. She's not going to back down. So I'm fine with that. I mean, obviously the character is a little based. I think one of the reasons, some people were saying like, "Oh my God, they made it a woman." I think it sounded like that Tank Girl vibe a little bit they were going for, which if you don't know was a very good comic book and a very awful movie from a few decades ago. So, but So anyway, she's the descendant of a wrestler from Canada. So, to Sergeant Hammer.
Sergeant Hammer. Now her passive ability is artillery. Sight radius increased by 2. Attacks deal 15% additional damage to enemies that are 4.5 distance away.
And she also has a siege mode, which increases the attack range by 4 and attack damage to minions or structures by 30%. The attack deals 25% splash damage, but you cannot move once you're in siege mode.
It also has Concussive Blast, deals damage and knocks back enemies, so it's a good way to just kind of escape situations and get enemies off of you if you're in siege mode.
Next up is Spider Mines. Creates 3 mines that deal damage and slow enemies by 25% for 1.5 seconds. I know you're not always supposed to push this on most builds, but I always end up choosing it. I can't quit you, Spider Mines.
And her 2 abilities are heroic abilities. Our Napalm Strike, where it deals damage on impact and then additional damage over time, and Blunt Force Gun deal damage to enemies in a kind of a straight line and reveals it as it travels. It's a lot like Jinx in League of Legends. You set off the giant bazooka attack, and it just keeps going until it hits somebody. I really like the level 20 boost of that, where it just keeps attacking. The Orbital Strike.
I love the fact it kind of looks like that kind of like From the Earth to the Moon from 1902 look to it, like that old silent movie capsule thing. Mm-hmm. And it just keeps going all around. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about our adventures with that skill before.
No, yeah, it's really cool. I've had a little bit of time playing as her, and I always take the talents that either increase damage when the people are far away, because I just like sitting there in siege mode and attacking things from a distance. It's one of those. When the game was first Blizzard Dota, I was very excited over playing the siege tank, because I was like, man, I want to be able to hit the turrets from far away and they can't hit me back, and that feel is definitely there. I love that feeling like someone has to come and get you if you're sitting there, because you will deal a ton of damage to them if they don't. Have any of you guys played Sergeant Hammer over the past week or so?
Tons. Been playing her a lot this week. I actually was playing a couple games before we started the podcast today as Sergeant Hammer, and I'm sitting outside turret range, and you might sacrifice yourself when doing this, but she provides such a great strategic element to it. Okay, so if everybody kind of forgets this notion, we have to stay in the lanes and keep getting XP. Even though we need to do the objectives on the map, you still have to soak XP, otherwise you're going to fall behind. So I'll sit in the lane and I'll soak XP, and I'll be knocking the crap out of their turrets and gate and pushing into the fort. And there were several times where I drew at least a minimum of 3 players away from their fights to come down and take care of me. So a couple times I died, a couple times I escaped using my Z. It's that element right there. You're instantly pulling 3 people away from another area just because you're causing so much havoc. I love Sergeant Hammer.
I think this is I'm just kind of starting to play her that way. When I first started playing in the game, I used Bribe a lot with her because she's so good at getting the minions down. And I think this, more than any other hero, is suffering a bit from that bribe nerf. At least what I found. I know Witch Doctor, not so much that I found when I go with bribe build with that one. But Hammer, I find that she's suffering a little bit from that bribe nerf. It's not as easy for her to bring down the minions. One thing, she is a lot of fun. I've been playing her a lot this week as well, but apparently not. I haven't been playing her properly. But I mean, one thing I think, at least in terms of good heroes that can really nail Sergeant Hammer and defeat her, Witch Doctor with the zombie wall is lethal to Sergeant Hammer, especially if your opponent's going into siege mode a lot, because they cannot get out in time, and then you can just like roast them inside that wall of zombies. And I found every game where I played her and we're up against the Witch Doctor, I am just getting brutalized. Her tank is melting under frogs.
I know I have the hardest time remembering to put down spider mines when I play Sergeant Hammer, because I don't feel like the spider mines is like goes with the kit. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand it's like, if they get close, they get hit with the mines and it slows them down so you can try to get away. But like I feel like the concussive blast kind of does that for you, kind of pushes them away, so then you could unsiege and go. So I think that one or the other would be a better option. I kind of wish there was another ability in there somewhere. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with that.
As far if you're talking about getting rid of the mines, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what else would be there though. Like,
I'm going to disagree, because the way I've been playing her for the past couple days is I'll take all the talents that boost the mines, so I'll get all the max number of mines possible, and I'll sit in a bush and I'll lay out 2 strips of mines and I'll start attacking their turrets, and then somebody will just come through the gate like, oh look, it's a siege tank, all siege moded, I got this, right? No, they just walked into 10 spider mines and now I blew them away and my siege mode just finished them. Like, done deal.
Yeah. Well, and you played more than me, so.
You know what the best feeling with the spider mines is? When you're on the Haunted Mines map and you just drop them in the entrance.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You get the guys who are running out. I did almost a full team kill just with spider mines once, with just guys who were low on health fleeing the rest of my team that just got eaten up by them. And that was an awesome feeling. But I think it's one of these things where people play it differently. I think it sounds like you play it very much on offense, Ben. Yeah. Whereas I play very defensively, and I may just be kind of a little too tentative the way I'm playing her right now, because I am finding that they are finding me and getting me pretty good.
Yeah, I'll take the napalm strike, and then I'll also take that talent that allows me to move very slowly while I'm in siege mode. And if I'm with a support character, it's so good. If we're pushing the lane, it's a little bit later game when you have that talent, and I'm just slowly creeping up in siege mode and dropping mines every chance I get. As soon as the cooldown's up, I'm always dropping mines constantly. And it's just forcing them to come into me, hit the mines, and they start to back off, and then boom, it's too late. Napalm Strike will finish it up if I have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I like Napalm Strike too. It's because you can use it so often. You know, it feels like it's like a real short cooldown. It's up all the time.
6 seconds.
Yeah. So it's almost like just another ability you can use, opposed to the blunt force gun, which is just a longer cooldown, and it's just fun to use. But I think Napalm Strike has been more effective for me in terms of me using it properly.
And it does pretty good damage too. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm more of a blunt force gun guy, but I like that whole vibe of the character, how you can clear lanes. You know who's been a little quiet, though, is Josh, which makes you think he's been that witch doctor that keeps killing me and starting that.
No, but I have used the zombie wall at the entrance of the mines like you do with the spider mines. As soon as I hop down there and I know they're coming up behind me, I'm like, zombie wall. And they come in, they're like, dang it. And they're just running around that little circle. And then they teleport back because if not, they're going to die.
Oh, man. So we kind of talked a little bit about kind of a duo strategy with her and a support hero. Are there any very specific heroes that you guys have noticed that she works well with?
She can with a warrior if a warrior can hold her off, like maybe Stitches or Arthas. That way you can just siege up and just keep splashing. And if you're close enough, dropping those spider mines, since they will run a little bit outwards. very good with that. If if the enemy isn't close up on her like that, it's very effective.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking Uther, just because Uther's got 2 different heals and the stun. So as soon as somebody like a Zeratul will come up to Sergeant Hammer, like me when I'm playing Uther, and I don't know if you noticed this or not, Adam, I can always see someone who's cloaked because you can see the little glimmer.
You're
I'm
really
always
good at it.
I'm always throwing Holy Radiance at who's ever cloaked to decloak them. And if I see, I teamed up with the Sergeant Hammer like twice on Cursed Hollow one time. And anytime I would see Zeratul start to run up to Sergeant Hammer, throw the Holy Radiance to decloak him, and then I instantly throw down the stun, and Sergeant Hammer just backs up and wails on him. Mm-hmm. So I think Uther's really well with Sergeant Hammer.
Yeah, I had somebody who was playing Diablo who did an excellent job of, like, I'd set up in the middle of the lane. They would take the enemy, do the overhead smash, so that way they got just into my range, and I'd pepper them with damage. Then he would kick them closer to me, and at that point, they're trying to run out anyway, so they're, like, taking more damage as they get further away, and then Diablo's waiting for them to kill them again. So Diablo's been a very good, like, I've done that, like, maybe twice, but I liked it.
Can you imagine if the cooldowns were a lot shorter and Diablo kicked him towards you and you shot him away, and then he kicked him towards you and you shot him away like the whole time?
Like a soccer ball. Yeah, I was thinking Diablo 2, Raynor. Anyone who's got an ability that kind of can get them off of you, I think is pretty good with Sergeant Hammer. She's definitely weak, like I said, to Witch Doctor. I was thinking of another game where I was solo laning and I was up against Zeratul and Nova, and that was just brutal. Because I just never had a chance to get comfortable anywhere, and so I think any of the cloaky heroes can be a problem.
Yeah, for sure. I think that kind of does it for our hero spotlight. Now, we're talking Witch Doctor, and I've kind of come up with this idea of each week, rather than having like a tip of the week for right now. I think I want to think about having what I call the don't of the week. It's what not to do in Heroes of the Storm, and. And so, talking about Witch Doctor, talking about the zombies, the one thing that I can't stress enough is don't get your teammates stuck inside the zombies. It's like one of the worst things that can possibly happen. And what goes with that is don't leave them there if you do it accidentally, because it will happen. Remember, you can reactivate the button to drop the zombie wall. So, just like it's a hint, but it's like it happens too much. Way too much.
It does. I can't tell you how many times when I played a Witch Doctor that I've accidentally trapped my teammates in it. Because you think, he's luring the enemy towards you. I'll drop it now. The enemy turns around, so your teammate stops and he gets stuck. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. Or, that mine in the mines thing I told you about, dropping it right there. I can't tell you how many times a hero on my side actually came down and got stuck there.
I have to admit, I played a lot of Witch Doctor, and I haven't really done it on purpose, but I've gotten a little bit of joy out of just like getting one of our warriors, like a Diablo, and like one of their guys, and just dropping the zombie wall, and then I can feel like the whole like like the whole Mad Max beyond 1 in, 2 in, 1 out feeling. It's like, okay, let me see which one of you guys survives.
I am 100% okay if you get the enemy and a warrior or somebody in there, because you're able to keep them from running away from the warriors who have an issue with enemies getting away from them. It's when you just get your one guy in there and you just let him sit there and don't drop it.
Well, Adam, then when you're playing Gazlo, I'll trap you in there with ETC.
No. No. I said you can do it with a warrior, not
just
with
for
Gazlo.
my enjoyment.
Actually, it wouldn't be too bad, because with Gazlo, he has the little stun area, so they wouldn't be able to get away from it, and they get out of that.
But plus, your zombies are beating them up. To be honest, this is actually a really good tip, because I wasn't aware of this.
Yeah.
I didn't
Me either.
Being able to take
so I think this is really, really good. A great tip. I played a lot of Witch Doctor, so that's a really good tip.
Something nice to do too if you're I know it's about the don't of the week, but a little tip for the wall zombies: if some player gets stuck in there and you're Tyrael, throwing your sword in the middle and just popping in there at the same time, it's a great combo there.
Sure. Okay, Ben, any final thoughts in terms of the Witch Doctor's zombie wall?
I mean, you guys pretty much covered most of it. I mean, this kind of goes across to all champions, but especially Witch Doctor. Please be aware of the talents and the skills that you have on a champion. You know, look at what they do. Especially, not everybody notices the fact that you can deactivate the zombies. So please be very wary of each champion you're playing, so that way you understand what they do, so that way you don't screw every one of your teammates.
Yep.
Okay, well, I guess that'll wrap up the kind of the meat of the show this week. We do have a little bit of podcast news to kind of wrap up the entire show. So the first thing is we did have our contest, and we do have a winner. What we're going to do is we're going to throw up the winning entry onto the website, but the winner is Patrick. He emailed us. He had Gold Dawn, Darkness Incarnate. Of all of the ones that we did get, I really felt that he did a great job of not only hitting us with all the meaty, gameplay stats, but that he hit kind of the lore real well. Wouldn't you agree, David?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I really liked it. Did you want to? Were we gonna go through what he submitted? Because I think it's really great. Like in terms of everything, you got like stuff like Hand of Gul'dan and things like that.
Yeah,
he's got good quotes done and everything like that. I think
Yeah, let's go ahead and kind of go through it a little bit. Dave, do you want to kind of take the lore and the quotes that he kind of started it off? Well, he ended it with, but that's a good start for him.
Yeah, so we'll do kind of our not quite yet in the game hero spotlight. So he's got what Pat's included here. Indebted to a demon lord and pitted against the mentor he betrayed, Gul'dan is one of a handful of fell orcs on Draenor. His visage and shamanic power twisted balefully by demonic communion. The outcasts he leads, the Stormreaver clan, now fight to wrest their rightful place in the Iron Horde from Gul'dan's former master Ner'zhul, who's the Lich King eventually, and to tempt a great army of orcs into infernal corruption. Some of the quotes he would have in game: "I am darkness incarnate, I will not be denied. Bear witness to the undeniable power of our dark master. I shall stretch out my hand and wipe this world clean."
And he's he put him as a caster damage CC, so it would be an assassin. I would say in terms of where that would fit into the heroes types. And I really like the heroic trait that he gave him. It's Drain Soul. It's your classic warlock feel, where every time he kills an enemy minion, he gets one soul shard, and if he gets a hero kill, he gets 4 of them. And each shard increases the effect of all of his abilities, and the shards are expended when they're used.
His primary damage dealing ability is Q, Shadow Bolt. Sends forth a bolt of pure darkness that damages all enemies in a straight line. Shadow Bolt's damage and rain increases with soul shards.
Then they also had Siphon Life for the W place. It places a curse on his target, slowly draining their life force over time and using it to restore his mana and health. Siphon Life ticks faster and increases its duration for each soul shard consumed.
And he's also got the Howl of Terror. Lets out a terrifying scream that causes all units and heroes within a certain radius to run in fear for 1.5 seconds. Very warlocky type talent. Soul shards increase the radius of the sphere.
Mm-hmm. And he gave us the 2 heroic abilities. One is Hand of Gul'dan, which summons forth a Shadow Flame Meteor from the Nether. On impact, it deals damage and applies Shadow's Grasp effect, which slows target's movement speed for 3 seconds. Slow shards increase the radius and the slow effect. And then the one that I think I would use if it was in the game is Summon Infernal, where he summons an Infernal. The impact from the arrival of the demon stuns all enemies around it and deals damage. Gul'dan can then control the Infernal for a short time. The Infernal burns everything around it in small radius for small amounts of damage. So it basically feels like he almost becomes he doesn't become it, but he gets a warrior of his own, just kind of blam right there. That just seems like a cool ability that I would love to see in the game, and it's like a good mix between, kind of a CC, because it's high CC character, and that warlocks. That's what they do in World of Warcraft. They CC you until you want to pull your hair out.
Yep. This reminds me, the Howl of Terror. When I was playing during Burning Crusade, people will be trying to get into Karazhan, and I'll be on a PvP server, and people will be camping outside the meeting stone, summoning stone, all that crap. And our warlock will be like, "You want me to go out and drop the F bomb?" Because that's what we called the Howl of Terror, because that's basically what it is, a fear bomb. And this, I think that works great for this character that for Gul'dan.
Okay, and next on our list of kind of podcast news is for the 25th episode, and we might do this in the future. We've actually got Rivalcast Media to help us out with setting up what I call the Nexus Ultimate Showdown. Basically, it's a voting poll similar to the podcast tournament that Sheep Moon has put on, and you basically vote who you think would win in a one-on-one matchup until there is only one winner. It's going to take, every round will be about a week, so you have a week to kind of get your votes in, and next week we'll kind of announce, a couple of the surprises maybe, who we thought were definitely going to win. So the link will be in the show notes, so definitely check that out. We'll be tweeting it out throughout the week. If you're in the live chat room, it is right there. You can go check it out right now. And then finally, we have set up a Patreon. Basically, for those of you who don't know, you give a little bit of money to kind of help out the podcast. We do this for fun, a little bit of a cost, but we're also kind of setting up a Mumble server too for everybody. So what this does is it'll give money for us to improve our podcast. It'll allow us to kind of keep bringing we're coming out on a weekly basis, all that type of stuff. And what if you give $2, what it does is, for example, we'll give you our Mumble information. You can actually get into the group and find groups and have a nice safe place to kind of find new teammates and stuff like that as well. We're basically doing that to make it so the Mumble it can't be full all the time, because unfortunately, the Mumbles have their limits. And if we kind of bring some people in, you can find teammates and have a place that you can be sure that you're not kind of teaming up with a bunch of jerks. Everyone's going to be in a good mood, stuff like that. You can check out really the full information. It's Patreon. That's patreon.com/the Nexus. We just put that up, so just check it out. And I thank you ahead of time if you think about helping us out a bit here. Ben, what else have you been up to, and where can they reach you at the after the show's over?
Aside from playing tons of Heroes of the Storm, I'm going to be also working on just a gaming industry podcast with some of my real life friends. You can find me on Twitter at Stacks and Packs, STAKSNPAKS. And if anybody's interested in just kind of like a generic gaming industry podcast where we rant for an hour and a half, you can check us out at Objective One Cast. That's just Objective, like the number one, not spelled out, Cast on Twitter.
And Josh, where are people to get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me here every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, twitch.tv/Heroes of the Nexus. And but for my personal, I have a Twitter. You can follow me at, it's Pakawan_AIE. I'll spell it out. PAKKUAN, then underscore, and AIE. And you can tweet me on there, and I'll even more likely reply back.
And David, what about you? Where can people get a hold of you?
Well, you can reach me on Twitter at BrillanCTR, BRILLAANCTR. I'm also going to be participating this weekend. There's a charity marathon that Catalyst Gaming is doing for, I believe, it's Child Play charity, which is a great cause, and I'm going to be part of the raid team that's going to be on the Alliance side. They're going to be doing a Horde raid as well. That will probably already be done by the time people listen to this podcast, but there's always the opportunity to donate to a very, very worthy cause.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I'm hoping to get some heroes in late night with them as well, because we kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday. So, like you said, by the time this is out, it'll be over. But most of our listeners we've had at the end of the show, they're little sounders, so you should definitely know about it and, think about kind of helping out Child's Play. And finally, you can reach me at Geek of Random on Twitter, the show directly at the Nexus Podcast. please send your feedback about kind of the segments we do. If you like from the forum segment, the don't of the week, kind of little hints and tricks segment, please let us know what you think about that type of stuff. If we find that a lot of people don't like it, we won't do it, because we're just kind of trying a few new things, especially now that we're starting to, run out of heroes to spotlight. I think we have 3 more left, so we're going to have to start finding some more stuff to talk about. So you can email us at show@heroesofTheNexus.com. You can also, for those of you who are live and, or you listen to us on the internet and not using iTunes, Stitcher, you can actually get us right into your RSS feed. It'll automatically show up. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Have yourselves a great weekend, and we'll see you in the Nexus. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Have a lovely
Yellow
evening.
things fly.
Fraggle Rock.
We love you.
Doozers.
Can't even stop.
You
Uh,
better
All
keep
right.
him singing. You better keep him singing that.
so you want to know? It's funny that you mentioned Killer Kowalski, because my neighbor, he was Killer Kowalski's son.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Back when I was living in Eastern Connecticut, he lived with his mother, and Killer Kowalski was his father, and he never really saw his father much, but they were, I think she was kind of a roadie.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
You guys know? Does everybody know who Killer Kowalski is?
I do.
He's kind of a legend here, like in Toronto, because he wrestled a lot in Maple Leaf Gardens here.
Oh yeah.
And he is Canadian, and it's like he's famously, I think he bit off like Yukon Eric's ear or something like that in the 50s. He's just like, when we think of old timey wrestlers, he's the first name we always come up with.
Yeah.
The guy with the curly mustache and his arms up like this.
No, that's the Irish
man,
boxer.
I'm gonna find a picture
No.
of the chat room here.
Killer Kowalski.
Like just classic look.
Okay.
How is everyone in the chat room?
Yeah. Mr. Tahu and Bullet. And who else do we got? The 4 of us.
Is Super Styler in there?
Yes, Super Siler as well. Yes.
He's my friend in real life. He's coming to BlizzCon. Me and him are going to BlizzCon together.
Nice.
So you'll meet him there.
Cool.
I'm glad everybody got tickets.
With our 50th.
I don't know. That's about it tonight. I don't know. I don't have anything special things. I talked a lot during the podcast today. We had all the little show news things. So I'm excited. We're kind of moving on up. We're getting we're doing some more things outside of the podcast, which is fun.
Good.
Ben switching out his keyboard.
That's right. This is the quiet keyboard, so you guys don't have to hear me typing while during the show.
I found it funny that every now and then I'd look at your camera and I would see legs moving.
Yeah, I saw that.
I want to be like, Ben, look out! Something's gonna get you.
So, did I hear correctly, Ben? You're level 23.
Yeah.
Did I honestly I'm way behind my schedule that I set for myself. I should have been well over 30 by now. But
Wow. Really?
shit
Wow.
happens.
Okay. You haven't played too much Hearthstone. So are we all gonna play here after the show?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a minute, and then I'll be there.
I should be able to stay conscious this time.
Yeah, actually, we need to do a quick recording before we can play, and we need both of you guys to help. So
Oh god.
So we're gonna bring down the stream. I want to thank everyone again for coming.
Thanks, chat room.
We will see you guys
Bye,
next week.
Stay beautiful.
Oh, I will.